Good morning, it's Libby. I'm back in my kitchen. It's the 22nd of February and it is my last week of this challenge. We're finishing it next Sunday, so it'll all be over by then. But I do plan to carry on a little bit longer because I do have a lot of food in my cupboards. When we went into lockdown, I did buy quite a lot of bulk rice and beans, stuff like that. So I just kind of want to go through those a little bit and just buy a few more, obviously little bits and pieces that I need for the rest of next month. But this month I'm still doing really well. I've been using oat milk for my cereals, and I do miss, and I've been making almond milk as well, but I kind of do miss the soya milk because I think soya milk in coffee, it just gives it a bit more creamy taste. So I'm going to have a go at making some today, some soya milk. So I'm going to show you that a little bit later on. But what I did last night, I had my dinner. I've uploaded a video on the meal I had. I just made a little pie with the chestnuts, which were really delicious. And I made a lovely rich red wine with onion gravy, lots of broccoli, lots of cauliflower and some roast potatoes. It was like a nice roast. It was very nice. So I had that last night. I put one in the freezer, and the rest of the pastry I've rolled into two sections so I can make some more. I've still got a pack of chestnuts in my cupboard. So that will be another meal, a couple of meals that I can use next month. So it's my plan. We've got 28 days of this challenge and it finishes on Sunday, 28th. So, but I kind of think I might carry on just a little bit longer and see how long I can go with clearing the things out of the freezer. I did a bit of an inventory on my freezer and I had a bit of a clean out, and I used a few bits and pieces. I found I've got quite a lot of soup that I'd made and put down, so I'm not making any more soup. A little note to self, don't make any more soup, because this is a tendency. I get lots of veg and I think, oh, I'll just quickly make a soup with that. But I'm not going to be doing that, so I'm trying to eat out the soup that's left in my freezer. So I think I've got 10 portions of soup left, so I'll be having that every day for my lunch with some nice bread. I made a sourdough loaf, which I've actually froze as well, so that'll go alongside it. In my freezer I've got some homemade hummus that I've made, and in my fridge I've got some mock tuna that I prepared, and those two go nicely on jacket potatoes with the soup or on the bread. So that'll keep me going through the week, gives me a little bit more protein. I'm trying to up my protein because I'm quite doing a lot more workouts than I used to do. I'm running a bit more. I'm teaching my yoga, doing quite a strong yoga practice in the morning, and I'm trying to do some HIIT training for spring, because we come into spring, and I don't know about you, over the winter we tend to eat a little bit of comfort food and we need to work it off as we come into spring. So that's where I am. I had a look through my fridge as well, and I've got a block of tofu. I've got some, what else I've got in there? So I've got some vegan cheese, which I'm going to go, yuck, because, sorry, it just doesn't wash, but I'm going to use it up. This one is a smoked applewood cheese, which I suppose out of all the vegan cheeses would be the one that if I had to eat vegan cheese on a regular basis, that would be the one. But I just bought it to make things like pizzas, topping on pizzas. It's not too bad when it's melted, but to eat it raw or, you know, without being cooked, I find it's just the taste, I just don't like it. And there's a lot of people like the vegan cheese, so, you know, go with it, whatever is fine for you. So I've still got no coffee. I'm still drinking my dandelion coffee, but I kind of feel that I now need to have a little bit of soya milk. So I'm missing my soya milk. So I thought I'd show you how to make this easy to make soya milk. There's a little bit of preparation, and you do need to get some beans. So I've worked it out, the cost of this, and it works out, and I think I worked it out at 30p a litre. Now, shop bought soya milk, organic, this is organic beans, costs about £1.20. Sometimes you can get it on offer, but most of it is probably £1.20, £1.40, £1.60, depending on if you buy it out of the fridge, you know, the chiller, or if it's long life, okay? So I buy these packs of soya beans, and they come in a kilo, and this one was £2.86. Now, these packets are compostable, so there's no waste here. We're not using those big Tetra packs. So if we were to make the amount of out of this packet, it would make something like I think I worked it out, it would make 7 litres out of this pack. So, you know, there's no waste, it's just this, just wasted. What is also made is a pulp that comes out of it, and it's called, I forgot what they call it, it has a name, but this is like the bean curd that comes out. You can't really do anything with this except, you can't eat it like tofu or anything like that. You can dry it and put it in if you dehydrate it or put it in the oven and dry it, it makes like a flour, and you can make biscuits with it. And I might have a go at making the biscuits, but in the meantime, I'll just freeze it, okay? So there's 2 ways of doing this. So you need to get ahead. So what you need to do is you need to soak your beans. Now, I've separated my beans into 2 different sections, but I started off with 250 grams of beans, which doesn't look an awful lot. It will literally bulk up, and it literally made a jug like that full right to the top. You need to top it with water, and you'll need to top it up a couple of times because it will take all the water in, and then you'll need to top it up again. So you need to make sure the beans are covered in water, and I would leave it for about 6 hours. Just do it overnight. So just put it on before you go to bed, and in the morning it'll be ready to make your fresh soya milk. So I'm doing 2 processes today. The one I do is I'd actually put it through the juicer. So I've got this really high speed, well, it's a cold press juicer. I use this every morning for my juice, but this one will make the milk. So I've worked it out for 250 grams of water. You will need 1.75 litres, so about 1 3/4 litres of fresh filtered water. I wouldn't use the chlorinated water, and I filled this all up. But what I've done, I've put it between 2 pieces of equipment. So I've got my juicer here, and I've got my blender. So you're going to be saying, well, I haven't got a juicer, but you've probably got a high speed blender. Okay, so you can do it in the blender, but you will have to put it through a nut bag and get the milk out. You'll also need a container, a saucepan, and a wooden spoon. That's all you need, and the water and the soya beans. So I've made some milk already. So you basically process it through. I'm just going to put this one side because I'm not going to do the whole lot. I will show you a little bit of how it is. So it will go through. So you just basically, I'm going to tip the rest of these soya beans, which have been soaked overnight. And what you do, once you've rinsed them out, wash them first, put them in the bowl, give them a rinse, put them in the bowl, cover them with cold water, leave them overnight. You'll then get the ones that are soaked. You'll need to then make a jug of 1.75 litres of water. Filtered water is best, and then you use the water and the soya beans to make your milk. So then once you've got that, once you've made your milk, you will put it in the saucepan and you will warm it up. And it basically needs to warm up for about 10 minutes, and you need to watch it, and you need to keep stirring it. So for 10 minutes, you will be watching it. And then what will happen is it will start to come to the boil. And when it comes to the boil, you switch it off and leave it to cool, and you've got soya milk. Okay, so I've got this process going on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just feed in, I need to get a spoon. Excuse me. I'm just going to get a spoon or a ladle and just show you briefly. I'm going to put this back on again for the mic. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly show you it going through. It's just a case of taking, like a little container of water and soya milk. I'm just going to put this on. So just going to quickly show you just a little bit of this process. And what you'll get is the pulp. I'll leave that one side. You'll get the pulp going through and the milk. The milk goes quite creamy. You can see it's coming out. It's quite thick coming out. You probably can't see on the camera, but it's really, really thick coming out. So that is the soya milk made. So you just go through the whole process of putting it all through the juicer and extracting the milk out of it. The other process is the blender, and I'm going to blend this for 60 seconds on. stop it there because that's about 60 seconds. And what you will get is probably enough actually on 30 seconds. You'll get this frothy, you see it? You've got this frothy milk. And then what you need to do, you need to sieve it or put it through a nut bag. So if you've got a nut bag, like so, this is a nut bag, and you put it over some sort of container, and then, I'm going to move that back a little bit, and then you'll put the milk through the nut bag. Okay, so you're going to put it through, and you'll be left with the pulp and the milk. And you basically just bring everything together, and you basically milk it. Okay, so you're just going to basically squeeze it. You see that coming out? It's like milking. And you'll be left with the same pulp that I've got in the container. I'm not going to do any more. I'm just going to leave that one side because I probably will blend it a little bit further. So I'm just going to take my soya milk that I've made. Let me just get a cloth just to wipe my hands because they're a bit sticky. So let me just wipe that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this milk and I'm going to put it in my pan. You see, it's quite creamy. Okay, it will kind of separate a little bit. And then I'm going to put the heat on. The right one. Okay, now I wouldn't suggest you put it on too high a heat. Put it on fairly medium heat, and you need to be patient. It's like a lot of these things, when you're making things yourself, you need to have a bit of patience, and you also need to have a bit of time. So you could actually just sit here, put some music on, and make it into a little bit of a relaxing time to make this milk and enjoy it. So what I'm just going to do is I won't go through the whole process because this is going to take 10 minutes. So just allow it to just come to the boil, and it will come up with a bit of a froth on the top. So when you finish, you'll need to skim off the thick froth that comes at the top, and it will probably make a little bit of a skin. So you need to take that off, and then you would leave it for 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, and then you'll just scoop off the excess, anything that's at the top, like a thick, it's like a thick film of some sort. Actually, if you take that off, you can actually use that and eat it in stir fries. Apparently in Japan, it's kind of a bit of a delicacy. If you were to carry on with this, you can actually make tofu. I've made tofu, and it's absolutely delicious, the fresh tofu. But I'm going to use this as soya milk and have a try with it. I've never made soya milk like this before. I've only ever made it into tofu. So I'm going to cool it down. Once this is warmed up and boiled, it will come up to a simmer, and it will come up to the boil. It takes a bit of time, but you have to catch it quick. You have to switch it off before it starts, it will rise up like milk will boil up. What you don't want it to do is it to start to burn at the bottom. So like if you were putting proper dairy milk in here, you wouldn't want it to go too hot and then burn. You'd be literally it's called scalding the milk, which you don't want. So once that is finished and it comes up to its boil, you just leave it and leave it to cool down. And then you can put it in your container. I've got lots of, I could use just a jug of some sort. I won't show it down because it's not in there. I've got some proper like milk bottles. So you can put them in that, put it in the fridge, and it will last for about 4 days. You can add a little bit of salt to it if you wanted to, just to give it a bit of preservative. And if you like sweetened milk, you could add some date syrup or maybe a little bit of maple syrup or something like that will sweeten it. So I hope that's helped. It's a really interesting thing to make, and I'm quite interested in making something out of this pulp. So if I show the pulp, it's like it's quite it's just floury. It's got a bit of an odd taste. Taste of it smells a bit like tofu. So that's the curd that comes out of it, and there's your milk. So have a go. Let me know how you get on, and then once it's cooled down, I'm going to have a try with it in my coffee, so my dandelion coffee, and I'll let you know tomorrow how it went, and I'll see you very soon. Okay, have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll speak to you very soon. Bye-bye.